get started. Welcome everybody to our April meeting. We'll go ahead and have Commissioner Schaefer lead us in prayer, and then I will lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Let us pray. Our gracious, kind, and Heavenly Father, we're thankful for yet another day of life and health and strength that you provide to each of us. We're thankful, Father, that we can come about county business and take care of issues. We ask that as we discuss that your presence will help guide and direct in the decisions that we make, reflecting the betterment we hope for the citizens of St. Joseph County. Bless our staff as well. We thank thee for your continued guidance. These things in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, very good. Roll call.
Commissioner Baker,
Here.
Commissioner Conklin,
Here.
Commissioner Malone,
Here.
Commissioner Rosado,
Here.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Here.
Commissioner Yonker, here, Chairman Hoffman.
Here. Very good. Adoption of the agenda. We have a motion by Commissioner Malone.
Second.
Support by Commissioner Rosado. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor with an eye?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Consent agenda.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Malone, support by Commissioner Schaefer. Discussion.
In the minutes, it shows that I wasn't here, but I was here.
Okay.
You said we make that change.
So we'll have to just make that change in the meeting minutes.
Mark 18.
On the March meeting minutes. Very good. So can we just go ahead and approve the consent agenda with those changes? Is that okay? Okay. Yep. Okay, very good. All in favor with an eye?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Consent agenda passes. Okay. We've reached our time of public comment. It's a very important time for us. We ask that all comments be directed towards the county commissioners and not towards the staff or any audience members. We ask that you just be respectful towards one another. And we also, in respect of everybody's time here in this room, we ask that you keep it under 4 minutes. With that, go ahead and anybody who wants to address us, please state your name and address for the record. And now is your time to come up. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Diane King, and my address is 61800 South US Highway 131, Three Rivers. I don't need this.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Yep, you're fine. Yep, just name an address.
Okay, good evening. My name is Diane King, and I've been a resident of St. Joe County for about 50 years now, and I'm on Social Security. It's been a long week. We've been organizing to save Social Security. So I'm here tonight to ask you if you, our voices at the lowest level of the county, can raise our concerns to the next level to get our voices heard in the State House. We have a little over 8,000 people in this county on Social Security and Medicare, or not Medicare, or disability. And if we lose Social Security, we lose those county tax dollars. And that's not going to help anybody because things aren't good now as it is. So we want to continue to be able to keep these people in their homes, keep food on the table, let them get medical care. So we're asking you if you will come to open town hall meeting on May 17th at the UAW Hall in Three Rivers, Michigan. I'm not sure of the time yet. You'll get a formal invitation to invite you to it, but it's open. It's not Democrat, Republican. It's just about saving Social Security. We have too many people that are just scared to death, and we want our concerns heard so we can try to save it. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
Real quick, do we know if the doors are unlocked downstairs? They are? Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Deanna Foster. My address is 902 Third Street, and I live in Drury, Michigan. I've been a resident of Drury, Michigan for 25 years. I'm here also to address about Social Security cuts. I mean, I'm going to say good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
I'm here to address my concerns. It might not affect you all right now, but, or it might not never affect you all. But for me and a lot of people in our county, Social Security is a once-a-month check. And we live check to check, month to month. Some of us have to choose between medication and groceries right now. The groceries out of hand. Some of us have to pay co-pays. And our check, we have to manage that little check. We don't have other income coming in. We don't have 401ks or pensions as a backup. And I just feel like, as our commissioners, you all need to fight for us on the upper level. It might not be important to you, but if you got a loved one who's on Social Security, ask them how these cuts are affecting their Social Security. Because right now you all got jobs. You young.
Thank you.
But what I'm saying is, Social Security, we work hard for our money. We pay taxes. Now why should we have to take these cuts and take more burden and responsibility? Go after the ones who are able-bodied to work. Don't go after us who have worked all these years for our Social Security. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Freddie Brown, and I stay at 213, bottom 3, Centerville, Michigan, Venture Boulevard. And I would just like to say, I had a head injury from a car accident 35 years ago, and I was living in California. And I never received Social Security, and for some reason they just wanted to keep denying me. And the last job I had, I was working for Goodwill Industries, and they accepted injured people and working for cleaning services, doing cleaning. And I broke my left ankle, and it ended. And now I can't move too fast to the left or the right. You know, I can't stand under that hard. And it's still, I can't understand why the government is trying to shut down Medicaid and Social Security at the same time. And right now, I depend on Medicare, and been on food stamps, you know, so I can eat to manage my life. But I love my brother, and he takes care of most of the expenses. And the only thing I have to do is feed myself and make sure I take my medicine. I take 5 different pills, and if I had to pay for it myself, just my seizure medication, cost me close to $500 a month. And I'm on 5 different pills. So, like I said, I'm praying for myself as well as for everyone else. And I live in St. Joseph County for at least 45 years of my life. left, go live with my aunt when my mother died, and then I joined the service, and I was in there for 4 years and got honorable discharge. I was in a Desert Storm and the Gulf War. I got out with honorable discharge. That's when I got injured myself. So, like I said, I'm praying for everyone in St.Joseph County and in America. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Welcome.
My name is Kelly Weaver, 70503 Hudson Road, White Pigeon. And for those of you who don't know, I have done business accounting for the last over 15 years. I love working with numbers. So after the last commissioner meeting, I had some questions. And I contacted my commissioner for information, and he promptly responded with some information for me. Thank you, Lewis. Last time it was said that there's misinformation out there, and by not disclosing all the information, the misinformation continues. So I would like to mention some of the things I was made aware of. First off is that there is a cost involved with securing a bond, and that includes some things like the bond counsel, bond insurance, publishing the offer, that sort of thing. And the county estimates that this will be over $80,000. I will use the 80,000 figure as a conservative number. Another bit of information is the M-Class savings account. So it is not a fixed interest rate like the CD. It fluctuates on a daily basis. It was actually up to 5.5% last year, but it has been on a steady decline. It was 4.5% last month, but it continues to trend downward. If you look at the annual yields over the last 10 years, it's more like 2% a year. So counting on a 4 or 5% yield cannot historically be proven. So using that information, I put together a comparison, and I did email it to you last night, so you might not have had a chance to look at it. I also printed some copies for you to take a look at. There is an amortization schedule with $6 million at 4% interest, along with the cost of securing the bond. And then it accumulates, and you can see those totals. And then I also did $6 million with an interest rate of 3.5%. It's kind of hard to figure a fluctuating interest rate for a number of years. So I use 3.5% as a high, but less than the 4.5 really high rate that we have right now. And doing that comparison, the county does not actually break even with the cost of the bond versus the interest accumulated on the savings account until about year 6. And that is taking for granted that the economy will be good the next number of years, and we have no idea what lies ahead. In fact, I think Commissioner Baker mentioned usually an inverted yield rate is right before a downturn. So all of that to say that with this information, the logic of saving taxpayers' dollars by taking out a loan versus keeping it in savings no longer holds any water. It just doesn't add up. So keep that in mind with your decision making. You are not saving us money by taking on more debt. Thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
Hi, my name is Paige. Let's live at 104 East Hatch Avenue, White Pigeon. Most of you know me. I was told to mention that I do live stream all of the meetings on Facebook if you guys seem to miss one or anybody in the public that misses them. I did bring up at the last meeting that the planning commission meeting minutes were not online. Is there any look about getting those online, because they're still not there?
Not sure, we can follow up, Paige.
Okay, and then there was talk, and I know Lewis has brought this up, about the marijuana money and what to do with it. And there was talk about maybe trying to get, to help the taxpayers. If we're getting all of this extra money from the marijuana, why can't it go to the county instead of raising our taxes every single year if we're getting this extra money in? So it's like to help the taxpayers not have to pay so much for everybody that's struggling as it is. So that may be something that needs to be looked at. I know it's not a guarantee for that money, but until it starts to slow down, like we know we're not gonna get it, try to use that money rather than billing us taxpayers more. That is it.
Thanks, Paige.
Good evening, Commissioners. Deborah Davis, 56861 Fair Road in Colon. I'm your elected prosecutor. Just wanted to stop in and give a short update on how things are going. We're still understaffed, unfortunately. Still have 3 full-time licensed attorneys and 1 law student. We've had 1 application from a law student in Ohio who thought we were actually St. Joseph, Michigan, not St. Joseph County. She was very, very sweet, but it's not working out. So we're still struggling to stay above water with all of the cases that come in. So I wanted to just bring it to your attention again. I know there was the wage classification study that did suggest some increases. I'm not sure where you're at with that. We have very hard-working law enforcement agencies out there every single day, 24 hours a day. Cases keep coming in, and so we're doing our best to keep up with them and protect, but if we don't have prosecutors, the cases aren't going to go anywhere. With that being said, another source of funding that was brought up was the excess in the marijuana funding, and I wanted to point out to the commission that there are increased costs to law enforcement, to the prosecutor's office, because of the marijuana businesses. For example, $2,200 and some odd for an expert witness for 1 impaired driving case in January of 24. The only jury trial that I had in 24 while I was there, and it shocked me to see how much we had to pay to have the expert witness that did the blood test come down and say, well, this is what was in the person's blood. So those are direct costs to our county in order to prosecute the cases that law enforcement is bringing us that are a direct result of people using marijuana, driving around our county, and having it available to them to use. So the other thing is we have a lot of breaking and entering calls that are to the marijuana facilities, whether it's just the alarm going off or somebody actively breaking in. We've had them where they flee and elude after they are caught breaking in. There's just crime associated with it, like with any controlled substance, alcohol, that sort of thing. But if there is a way that we could funnel some of that excess into the law enforcement prosecutorial budget, it might help get some more people in here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gordon Eaglesizer, Florence Township, White Pigeon. How are you guys tonight? I know you're gonna vote to pass the courthouse money. It's a lot of money, guys. I guess I haven't seen the list of what all we're gonna do to that courthouse, for the money we're gonna spend. It'd be nice for the public to know that. As a former supervisor, why haven't we been putting maintenance money in our budget for that in the last 14 or 12 years since 14? It just makes no sense that, we gotta spend all this money to fix that building over there. Why haven't we been doing that all along, a little at a time? We wouldn't have to spend millions that we're planning on spending. It'd be nice to know what we're getting for our money over there. maybe Rick, if you could give me a list of that.
Happy to.
All right, thank you, have a good night.
Thanks, Bruce.
Hi, good evening. My name is Regina Chapman. Everybody calls me Reggie. I live at 54012 Lower Road, 3 Rivers, Michigan, 490938418. And I wanted to officially invite you all, since you all ran as Republicans, to the Republican Party meetings. Every month, we finally moved. We're right across the street at the Centerville Baptist Church. Start at 5:30. Since you're statutory members, you can come early like that. And it's always on the fourth Monday of the month. So I know a lot of you don't actually work in here, but that's where we're going to be. And it was real interesting last month because we had a little discussion the week after we had this meeting here in regards to the black mold situation. I just want to point out, I did read your Facebook posting that you put out, Mr. Hogmaster, the next day. I read it the next day, but it said based on tonight's vote. So I just want to read the first couple paragraphs of it. And you had said, like most hot topics that come before the county commission, I would like to explain tonight's vote. The county commission voted to approve up to $6 million for a general obligation limited tax fund that will help finance the renovation of the Centerville Courthouse. Here are a couple of reasons why I supported the financing. The historic courthouse is not being touched. The new, in parentheses, new quote unquote, courthouse is 50 years old and needs major renovation due to health concerns. And you had in parentheses black mold. This concerned me, and then also security concerns, structural integrity concerns, workflow issues. So the next week, when we were talking over this at the church, we had Mr. Schaefer on one side, Christine Younger on the other side of the church, and we were talking back and forth about the black mold situation. He said, yeah, black mold isn't a problem. She said she's been looking through the minutes and can't find anything about black mold. It's not like something you really want the public to know about, but yet it's something that needs to be dealt with. My cousin worked down in the prosecutor's office for 15 years. Oh, hello. And for 15 years, she worked in the prosecutor's office. Retired in 2019. She said every day those women were sick down there. Once they went out for lunch and once they went home, the headaches went away, the nausea went away. I was wondering if I, as a public citizen, FOIA'd the public health department to see how many times this building has been treated for black mold and brought it to the commission, or I could just FOIA fax it to you probably. Would that be a consideration? I mean, I know you're not supposed to answer back, but I'm thinking I may take that up this month just because I'm curious for her health's sake too, but just to see. I mean, that's what it's been back and forth with, so, okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Carol Slavic, 61926 Bayshore Drive, Nottawa Township. I'm a precinct delegate, and I would like to thank all of you folks for what you do for us. Appreciate your time and involvement. I'm concerned about property taxes. I have the St. Joe County chart with previous and this year's. I'm just going right now in township. 6.77 increase. My wages don't, I'm retired, my income doesn't go up that much. It's scary. Just want you to know that I'm also axed Michigan tax. It's a concern, especially seniors, especially people with fixed incomes. It's scary. We need your help. Okay? If we will overspend. I can't overspend on my budget. You folks can get a budget that can go up and up and up. I'll be dead and gone by the time the new courthouse renovation, the budget for that you borrowed is paid off. Think about that when you do it. How many seniors? We're not going to be around. How is that going to benefit us? Thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
Hello, Angela Megas, 65935 and 66 Sturgis. So, I would just like it to be more like Doge with my money. Like, cut where the cuts can be made. I don't want to have to pay for the frills. And you're listening. You have people here telling you repeatedly what they want. You say there's people that want this, where are they? You tell them not to come? You shouldn't do that. You've got people here taking their time to tell you what they want. We have the prosecutor here telling you what she needs. At least look into it. I sent you guys an email. I have a couple cases I'm interested in the prosecutor's office right now. I sent you an email in reference to it. Take the time that it needs to help them figure it out. Ms. Davis is new to the office, that position anyway. Give her some help. Or do you guys go there? Do you figure it out? Does she have to come to you every time? She's repeatedly said something about it. I have 2 specific cases I'm interested in. Do I need to come here and talk about them specifically? Anthony Miller died. And the guy that ran him over is working just down the road. We need to do better for his family. We can't do anything for him. So, that's my direct interest in the prosecutor's office. Maybe Ms. Davis could do more. Maybe you could help her do more. The courthouse upgrades versus rebuilding, we talked about it to death. You guys have made your decision based on what you want. But what's going to happen when you don't have any more money? You're going to give us a millage? Then what? We're going to have to be here again asking you not to give us a millage even though the sheriff's department might need it? Or whatever area might need it? So yeah, this might work. Even though my big best friend, she doesn't even know it, Kelly Weaver, says it won't. Might work this time. But next time, and the time after that, then what? Lastly, I invited you all to Glen Oaks on the 22nd and 24th for the Center of Rural Sustainability project at Glen Oaks. I hope you guys can come to see at the very least what's going on and what the idea is behind the building and that project. It's just in the building levels. It's been an idea for a few years. The interim president had the idea. It was a great idea she had, and the new president's going to hopefully get it off and running. So I hope some of you guys can make it so you can see, so you know what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to address the commission? Becky, come on up.
Rebecca Shane, 385 South Washington Street, Constantine. My family came here in 1832. That's a long time ago. There weren't very many people here then. Lived in Vegas, Three Rivers, and now in Constantine. 8 years, that brought me back. When I married that kid from White Pigeon, I met him at Michigan State. He told me we'd always live a long-distance call to his mother. Well, I'm back, and I've been attending these meetings since we were discussing $6.9 million going across the state line. I remember, in particular, of course, the last 2.5-hour meeting has been rolling around, keeping me awake nights. But we had a commissioner that sat over here on the end. He wanted to spend a couple $100,000 with WGN in Chicago to attract retirees from Illinois to our lakes here to buy all these houses that were sitting there all winter with nobody living in them. Not realizing that the taxes that those non-homesteaded properties were gathering were what keep our schools open. And I brought some articles to that effect and presented them to him, and he wadded them up and threw them at me. Patty was recording the meetings in those days, and at the next meeting she gave me a copy of the CD, and it's in the side of my car. One of these days I'll have to look at it again. I have to believe that taxes give us ownership. If we hand it all over to somebody else, do we really have an ownership for coming here and standing here and talking to you? And I appreciate this opportunity. The bottom line is that in your position, you offer us a safe place to come and gather for whatever reason, for whatever it costs. And I elected one of you, and all of you were elected for that reason, to provide us a safe place to come and gather and be a part of the functioning of this county. So thank you very much for your service.
Anyone else wanting to address the commission? Okay, very good. We'll close public comment. We'll move on. We do appreciate the comments. Move on to presentations. We don't have any presentations tonight. County Administrator's Report.
Just a few updates tonight. As you know, Erin has been doing dual duty here in her former position and her position here in administration. So she had another obligation with her former role tonight, so she couldn't be here with us tonight. But appreciate some grace and some flexibility with us here as we all kind of get settled in. We have last week, she started on Monday, filled a support role for this part-time support position that we had, so we're getting her trained as well. So continued patience would be welcomed. Just wanted to thank commissioners and our department heads and other elected officials that were able to attend the strategic planning workshop today. I hope you all found value in that, and there'll be more to come, obviously. So the auditors for our finances went on site last week, and we should have a presentation to the board in July by the auditors. So those are a few things that are happening.
Very good. We appreciate that. Moving on to committee reports and appointments. We do have an appointment this evening. If anybody would like to make that appointment motion? Oh, we can, yeah, absolutely. Do we have any committee reports?
Yes.
Yeah. Commissioner Rosado.
From the road commission, they received all their quotes in for all the roads that they were going to, they asked for paving, and the quotes came in very good, lower than expected. So as a result of the road commission, we'll be doing an additional 4 miles of county roads this year. We're not determined exactly which ones yet, but we're going to get a little bit more mileage for because we got good quotes.
Very good. Any other committees? Yep, go ahead.
Resources.
Yep, go ahead.
That met last week. We have 6 items on the agenda here. We talked about the annex, which is the building across the street. There was some water damage, there's some mold in there, so we discussed mold remediation, insurance is covering most of the other costs. So, yeah, just maybe some testing of the ducts with the mold, so that's all cleaned out. We discussed the black mold in the courthouse, wherever that is, wherever we are. It was reported to the physical resources that there was no black mold, no evidence of black mold, so that there's, at this point, no action is going to be taken. Repeaters and 3 rivers. So this has to do with the emergency services being in the building, not being able to communicate because of the construction of the building, so we're getting some pricing on repeaters so that those signals, it's over my head, the signals can bounce through the building so the emergency services communicate, so we're working on that. The jail sewer, there's a problem with the sewer at the jail. We're proceeding with the RFP, that's going to be about $12,000, so that can go out to bid. Evidently, things are getting flushed down the toilets from the jail, causing some problems with the village of Centerville. What's that called? Their,
DPW?
yeah, their water, their
Lagoons.
they're good. RFI readers goes to the courthouse. We discussed maybe putting some readers at the new construction, so people can kind of scan in, scan out. Maybe for who's in the building. Lots of discussion on that. Dustin's looking at some options, and then AV equipment for this room for our meetings. We have 1 quote, and Dustin is working on a couple more quotes. So that's all discussed, so we're moving forward. I know you asked about the audio-visual equipment, and so we're working on it.
Thank you.
So that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Duncan. Any other committee reports? I just have a quick one. Our Transportation Authority, our director, Alan Gaylord, is retiring. May 2nd is his last day. So the Transportation Authority put together a hiring committee, and they will be hiring our current operations manager, Marcy Goodman. Last name's Goodman. So just a heads up there. So we'll see how everything works out with the Transportation Authority. So a little bit of changes going on there. So with that, we do have somebody that we're looking at appointing to the authority.
All right. Make a motion to appoint, it's like Lynn Page, the St. Joe County Transportation Authority, for a 2-year term.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Baker and a second by Commissioner Malone. Any discussion? I will say we interviewed Lynn Page. She's an awesome person. We appreciate everyone who volunteers for our committees, whether it be transportation or anything, everything in between. So we do appreciate that. With that, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Yep, go right ahead.
First of all, the vacancy, when did it become a vacancy?
I think it's been a vacancy for a little while now. I don't know exactly.
Okay. And was it advertised like there was a vacancy for that board?
Yep.
And you had some people, or just one person?
Just one.
Unfortunately, that's what happens. Yeah, that's what happens. Unfortunately, we have a lot of vacancies where people don't apply.
Yeah.
Because it takes time to commission. But we do advertise. That's my concern.
Yep. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Very good. All in favor with an aye? Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Okay, moving on. Unfinished business. We don't have anything on the unfinished business. New business. A lot of this, again, we've kind of reviewed at the executive meeting with some pretty major detail, but our first on our new business is the equalization report and resolution by Josh Simmons. Is Josh is here, all right. Come on up, Josh. All right, good morning, or good evening. Thanks for having me. Last Tuesday, I presented the equalization report. And today I'm just here if there's any other final questions or whatnot that I can try to answer on the spot. Otherwise, we're just asking that you pass a resolution to approve the equalization report as submitted. And I believe we have some handouts if anybody wants a copy of that.
I move to approve the 2025 equalization report resolution for St. Joe County. Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Baker and second by Commissioner Malone. Any other questions for Josh or any comments, discussion?
I have a question. Sure. So how do you figure out what the percentage of change is?
We do equalization studies, doing appraisals and sales studies throughout the year to measure the level of assessment with each township and city by class. And we look at, so we do a projection of what the overall value is by those assessments. We take our appraisals and compare them to what their assessments are to come up with how much they need to increase or decrease their assessments by, because they have to assess property at 50% of the market.
And so one more question. Do you know what last year's percentage of change was?
Not off the top of my head, but I do know that the biggest class, residential classes of properties, the increase this year was like 9-something, and last year it was like 15-something. So,
Okay, thank you.
yep. But any of those numbers I can get for you if you like. Good question. Yep. Anybody else? All right, we need a roll call.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado,
Yes.
Commissioner Yonker,
No.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Conklin,
Yes.
Chairman Hopkins.
Yes. All right, motion carries. B, stay up here, Josh, because we're doing the commercial industrial appraisal contracts. All right, so on this, in order to do those equalization studies, we do have to do appraisals each year. We don't have enough staff to do all of those appraisals. Our staff does focuses on the residential and the agricultural appraisals. So we have in the past contracted out most of those commercial and industrial appraisals. We did put out an RFP. We got a couple of bids. And we are asking you to approve a contract with Assessing Solutions. They're the same contractor that we have used as long as I have been here. It's a 3-year contract. It did increase slightly this year, but that's the first increase that we have seen from them also since I've been here. So I'm just asking that you would approve that so we can do our statutory duties. We have a motion by Commissioner Malone. Do we have a second?
Support.
Second by Commissioner Schaefer. Further discussion, questions? Yes, I have a question. In regards to the RFPs or RFQs, you said we had 3.
We had 2.
You had 2 bids at that one. Was the other one higher or lower?
The other one's higher. So this one came in at $110 per parcel for the appraisals, and the other one was $150 per appraisal. So,
Thank you.
Quick question, kind of refers back to the residential side, I guess, but on that side, so our property taxes go up 5% a year. Is that because the appraised value goes up?
So, per state law, in the proposal pay from back in 1994,
taxable values change at the rate of inflation, but cannot increase more than 5% in one given year. So this year that increase was 3.1%. So that taxable value increases by the rate of inflation, but it can't increase higher than what the assessed value is. So with values increasing, it does allow for the taxable value to increase that up to 5%. But the individual appraisals don't affect the actual taxable value in a given year.
But it doesn't have to go up 5%.
It goes up at the rate of inflation, or 5%, whichever is less.
There's no exceptions.
No, that's it.
Good, any other questions for Josh? All right, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Opposed, the same?
I'd like a roll call vote.
I don't, yeah, we don't, it's not necessary. Ayes have it. Moving on, thank you, Josh. Design Development, Centerville Courts Building, can you run it by Ms. Jen Sawyer? Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I am here today to ask if the Board of Commissioners would approve the county going forward to the next phase of construction as presented at the executive committee last week.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Jen. We talked about this at the executive committee meeting. What's that? Yeah. Anybody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Malone. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
By Commissioner Schaefer. Any discussion? Okay. All right. Now we can do a roll call one for this one. Go ahead, Gina, for a roll call.
Commissioner Baker,
No.
Commissioner Rosado,
Yes.
Commissioner Yunker,
No.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Conklin,
No.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Chairman Hoffmeister.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Jen.
Thank you.
Moving on, property exchange, St. Joseph County Parks and Hughes Trust. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Can you go back to the commercial industrial appraisals contract? Can you do a call for nays, please?
What's that?
You did not call for nays. Can you do that?
Oh, yep. Any nays?
Nay.
Property exchange, St. Joseph County Parks and Hughes Trust. Is Matt Davidson here? I don't
He
see
is
him.
not. He had told me that he would be here, but he is not here this evening. He did do a lengthy explanation of this at executive. It is from what I understand, this was an agreement that was made some time ago. We were fulfilling that agreement that was put in place between the Hughes family and the county. There's no money changing places here, just simply a swap of property to be in line with what the intent was 10 to 15 years ago. So we are asking for authorization for the county administrator to sign and execute the quitclaim deeds, finalizing the property exchange between St. Joseph County Parks and Recreation and the Julie M. Hughes Revocable Trust.
So moved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Malone and a second by Commissioner Baker. Any discussion?
And what this does is it allowed for a piece of property that is made it more accessible to the parks. So the parks actually benefited from this as much more than the landowner in this case. They were doing that for the good of the county.
Which we appreciate. Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor with an aye? Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay, going on to E, resolution, 150th anniversary, the St. Joseph County Cass Kalamazoo Pomona Grange.
You were close.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have a historical resolution to be enacted upon this evening. And quite honestly, I feel a little inadequate having a historical person in the audience, Rebecca Chang, that does a lot of work with St. Joseph County history. It's been in your packet. I'm not going to review it all, but just a little bit of background about Granges. Early in the early 1900s, all across the nation, folks joined different Granges as a part of socialization, as a part of doing things in the community, lots of different activities. And I don't know how many Granges at one point we actually had in St. Joseph County, but I do know that we had a number of Granges that took care of a lot of different functions and so forth. As a part of a special celebration that's going to be held this Saturday, the Grange in Baroque is actually hosting 150th anniversary to recognize some of the good things that the Granges have accomplished here in St. Joseph County. And so I won't read it in its entirety, but I do want to thank Tom Smith, who's been a Granger for a number of years, I think at the Riverside Grange, that has since been assimilated into the other Granges. And Mary Beth Bowers also contacted myself as a borough Granger, and Commissioner Conklin and Lynette, his wife, have been Grange members for a number of years there in Baroque. And so we'll be presenting this special resolution to honor the 150th anniversary of Granges here in St. Joseph County. So having said all that, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve the resolution as we discussed in executive committee last week, and ask that we waive second reading.
Second. All right, very good. Thank you for that. I have a motion by Commissioner Schaefer and a second by Commissioner Malone. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Before it's signed by the chairman, I would request that my first name be spelled correctly.
Sorry.
Mine too.
Potato.
We have been moving fast on this one. I apologize, and we will correct that and get it taken care of. I do apologize.
Very good. Noted for two commissioners. Make sure we get it correct.
Thank you.
Any other further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Rosado?
Yes.
Commissioner Younger?
Yes.
Commissioner Malone?
Yes.
Commissioner Conklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Chair Hopkins?
Yes. Very good. Motion passes. Next on the agenda, we have the Sheriff's Office AED request presented by Under Sheriff David Northrup. Or we're going straight to the source.
Yeah.
Sheriff's Office.
I guess we have to.
Twice in one day, sir.
Welcome.
Sir.
Good evening.
Are your numbers correct?
Yes, we discussed that. I'm here to request 15 AEDs. As we discussed, we used the number 13 deployments. As of yesterday, 14 out. And that one went down, so we are out. So we're requesting the 15 AEDs. We're using those at record rates, I think. And we're going to start collecting that data for this year to see if this is a trend for our county and why. But we definitely are in need of those, along with the kits to go with those AEDs, gunshot victims and accident victims and things like that. As we discussed, some of those items, the deputies are using some of their own personal items to care for patients. So I would ask for the approval for those 15 AEDs and medical kits.
Very good. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the purchase of 15 AEDs and 15 individual first first aid kits for the sheriff's office and county buildings.
Very good. We have a motion by Commissioner Baker and a second by Commissioner Younger. Any other discussion?
How soon do we have these? I mean, if we're out?
We have, we'll get it. The strikers, we're going through it.
So, cool.
Perfect. Good. Any other discussion, questions? All right, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor with an aye? Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Budget amendments presented by Ms.
So this is a budget amendment for the sheriff's office that Chad could probably explain a little bit better than I can. But they're asking to use $12,884 from the Sheriff's Justice Training Fund. And then those dollars would be transferred into the general fund for some additional training dollars for this fiscal year.
Very good, thank you. Do we have?
Yeah, I make a motion to transfer the funds for the sheriff's training fund.
Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Baker and a second by Commissioner Malone. Further discussion? All right, all in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay, very good. That is the end of our new business. We do have a closed session, but before we go to closed session, let's do commissioner comments, if we could. Commissioner Rosado.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to acknowledge that the only reason I was able to get the information, so quickly to Ms. Kelly Weaver is because of our outstanding staff. Our county administrator, I reached out to her, she reached out to her people, and they got to me quickly. I was able to get back to Kelly Weaver within, actually before the date that I said I would be back there. So I don't want to take all the credit, but thank you to our staff for responding so quickly.
Thank you. Commissioner Cotton.
Just thank everybody for being here tonight. So.
Thank you. Commissioner Younger.
Jasmine, I'd like to read my last month.
Go right ahead.
Good evening. I come before you today to address two important matters that directly impact our county's fiscal health and future. First, regarding our approach to financing new projects. While borrowing funds can enable necessary improvements, we must exercise prudent restraint. Each time we issue bonds or take on loans, we're just not investing in our present, we're placing obligations on future generations. It's been mentioned before, every time there's been an inverse curve, it was followed by an economic downturn. We are currently paying on a loan that was approved in 2019. If this project was a high priority, on the high priority list since 2014, why was there a loan taken out and this project done that will be removed with this upcoming project and literally thrown away? Talk about waste of taxpayer dollars. This trajectory is unsustainable. I believe we must establish clear priorities in capital projects and implement a more disciplined approach to financing. I've heard that this project numerous times has been a high priority since 2014, and that we need to keep moving forward because we would be wasting taxpayer money. So here's a breakdown of some of the county spending since 2014, and I'm going to read it slowly. In 2017, there was a total of $1,714,140 for the following park projects. Cade Lake, $402,890. Covered Bridge Farm, $568,083. Plum Lake, $409,035. And then various other parks projects, some are for the farm and some are for Cade Lake, but I'm not sure why they're broken out on the spreadsheet that was sent to me. Those total $334,133. So keep in mind there's also money given to cities for sports complexes. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I was an athlete, my kids were in sports. But it's still taxpayer money and not technically an essential government service. Totals given to the city of Sturgis in 2017 was $1,626,163, and to the city of Three Rivers between 2015 $2.9 million. That is a grand total of $7,129,414. I find it hard to believe that the courthouse project was such a high priority when this kind of money was spent for parks and sports complexes after there was such a dire need for the court renovation. Secondly, I want to address a few of the county parks I've mentioned already, specifically our rental venue at Covered Bridge Farm and Cave Lake Campground. While these facilities were established with good intentions, they evolved into operations that directly compete with tax-paying businesses in our community. Private running venues and campground operators invest their own capital, pay taxes, and create jobs without public subsidy. Yet they face competition from county-owned facilities that operate with taxpayer support. Their very own tax dollars are funding their competition. This is neither fair market competition nor sound fiscal policy. Therefore, I'm proposing we initiate a process to divest these specific properties. The proceeds from these sales would reduce our debt burden, return these properties to the tax rolls, and allow us to refocus our parks development on its core mission, providing recreational green spaces that serve all citizens rather than specialized commercial services. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Yonker. Commissioner Schaefer.
Nothing to say.
Commissioner Malone.
Nothing, thank you.
Commissioner Baker.
Yeah, I just want to touch on a few things. Kelly, you're spot on. You know, I mean, let's just say that it did make fiscal sense to keep the money into a savings account that's making more money. We still have more debt than what we are saving. So initially, it's a non-point. I mean, we're sitting on debt right now with money in the savings account. So you're spot on. Reg, wanted to go, I already talked to the health department on this issue. They do not track black mold mitigation or inspect for it. So save me some time with calling them because I've already done it. Angie, I agree. A couple of years we're in trouble. The next major outcome, or the next thing that comes up that's major, costs us any kind of money, what are we going to do? We're spending an awful lot of money here. To the tune of about $20 million in the total course project. Everyone wants to lump it together and say it's a total project, phase 1 and phase 2. Where are we right at that $20 million mark? With the economic insecurity the way it is, the federal cuts that we all know are coming, that are going to trickle down, what are we going to do? We're going to lay people off? Cut services? I don't know. As Chris said, we spent a whole lot of money if we've been saving up to do this project since 2014. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Baker. And I just want to talk real quick about Kelly. You did a great job, and I'm not being condescending. That was very thoughtful research that you put together, and the email that you sent to us with the amortization schedule and the data that you put together was spot on. My only point of contention would be using the hypothetical of 3.5%. So when I did my illustration last month, that was actual current interest rates. Hypothetical 3.5%. Short-term interest rates definitely do move. What I feel comfortable with as a commissioner is that 20-year loan at 4%, that is fixed. And the short-term interest rates are going to move. Right now they're at around 4.3%. There's not a whole lot of movement in short-term interest rates. We'll see what that looks like, obviously. But I personally feel comfortable with that 4%. And you also pointed out these are callable municipal bonds. So if interest rates really fall, including on our M-class rates, we could actually refinance that 20-year period. So we could lower our interest rates, which is a good thing. So if we do have interest rates that lower on our M-class, we can also lower our fixed rate on that 20-year as well, too. So they do go hand in hand, which is the next thing. I personally, again, with my vote, and I've explained it, and just like with the Facebook post that was referenced, I do feel comfortable with it. I definitely feel comfortable with Angie and Teresa and the staff putting together. This is what the county can afford. We are a conservative county. They are a conservative staff. They ran the numbers. The debt service is already in the 26 budget, and it is something that we feel as a county staff and a county commission that we can handle. And we need to make sure that we're not just putting Band-Aids on a broken leg, that we actually fix something that's going forward, and then again, hopefully last for another 50 years, so that we pass on to the next generation facilities that actually work for the services that we provide. So I'm looking forward to that. The black mold, I definitely put that in my post that it was black mold, I'm sorry. I did reach out to Teresa for clarification on a couple things, and literally the next day I edited it, and if you go to the post right now, the next day I put on there that that was actually brought up in a conversation with some staff. That is my fault. I put that on Facebook. I own that. It's my understanding we do not have black mold, but if the Board of Health, if you want FOIA Board of Health information, I absolutely encourage you to do so, but I think we're in good shape there, so. But I apologize for that. So. Very good. Okay. Moving forward, we're going to see if we can go into closed session. What's that?
Oh, I was just going to say, just for the people here, there is a chance that the board may take action after the closed session. So in case anyone wants to say, because a lot of times people leave right after close, so if you want. In the event, I don't know for sure, but if that's a decision we made, we may come out of closed session and make a motion.
We're good. Yep.
I move to go into closed session for this commission to consult with its attorney to discuss strategy for the negotiations of POAM Command Group Collective Bargaining Agreement pursuant to MCL 15.268C, and also to consider a written legal opinion from its attorney under MCL 15.268H.
Second.
Good. We have a motion by Commissioner Baker and a second by Commissioner Long. All in favor with an aye? Aye. All opposed, the same?